All right, friends, in this video, I want to talk about bat reviews. I'm going to tell you my process. Let's talk about my brand deal. Am I biased when I review bats that I was given for free? All these different things, how I test them, why I test them, what you should be looking for, and should we be ranking bats? Should we be rating bats? I'm going to cover all that in this video. All right, first up, let's talk about bias. So I am sponsored by Just Bats and Just Gloves. I have a brand deal with them. And the way that works is they pay me a flat fee monthly, and then I get an affiliate commission on sales of bats. So when I link to this bat in the description, if you click through that link and buy the bat, I'll get a 10% cut of that sale. Now, here's the deal with all that. You've never seen me in any of these videos hype up any single bat. I test them, I do go through all that, which we'll discuss in this video, but overall, I don't care what bat you buy. So overall, I'm incentivized to make a good video that helps you make the right decision for you, whatever your budget might be, and just figure out what bat you want. And I'm not paid by Easton, I'm not paid by Victus, I'm not paid by Marucci to say the Marucci is the new best bat or the Easton is the new best bat. I'll just test the new bats and I'll tell you what I think about them. But that's really as far as the brand deal bias goes. I know it would be best if I bought every bat myself, but that's just not financially feasible to do, right? These are $300 bats that most people are really looking at. And so if I were to buy 6 bats, it's $1,800. There's no way I'm going to recoup that in any given video. So that's sort of the way this whole ecosystem works. Now, if my channel got gigantic where I'm getting 100,000 views per video, like the baseball bat pros, sure, but I'm not in that situation. And even then, I probably would never tell you that this bat is trash, because the biggest thing is there is a bat for every budget. You know, this is a $250 dual stamp. There are $69 one-piece aluminum pipes. They're different use cases, right? To say like that bat's trash compared to this one, it's like, okay, you could say that, but also we're not comparing the same things. That's like comparing a Ferrari to a Ford Escort. Like, they're just meant for different people and different budgets, right? So that's sort of where I'm at as far as what you should buy for the money and me recommending different types of bats and whether I have bias or not. Now, the biases I will say that I have is I like different types of feel. So with some bats, I'll show you one here, the DeMarini Flipper, I'm not biased towards DeMarini, but I do like their graphics more than others, so I'm drawn to them a little more, and I like the feel of this bat more than others. So if this bat performs the same as another bat, but I like the way the barrel feels to me, then I'll say, yeah, I like this one more. That's just a personal preference though. And even then I try to help you talk through, or I try to talk through what are my preferences and what are actual performance. That's why I test exit velocity off the tee, because then you can see for yourself what the performance looks like. Hey, it hits 92, 93, 94 off the tee for me. Hey, this other bat hits 89, 90, 91. You can make a decision on whether that's a significant difference for you or not, and whether that performance difference matters. But for me, I'm talking through a lot of my only real personal biases are what bats feel best. I'll probably recommend those a little more, say I like them more because I personally like using it, right? Just like I like this brand of toothpaste because it tastes better than this other brand of toothpaste that the mint is like weird to me. It doesn't make one of them bad or one of them good. It's like, I just like this one a little better than this one. Take it for what you will. All right, let's talk about my testing method. So here's some things that I do not do. Number one, I don't hype up any bats. You don't see me when I'm hitting going, ooh, look at that one. Oh man, that's amazing. This bat feels so good. I don't do any of that. A, that's not my personality. And B, I just think that's adding an emotional bias. Like, I'm not trying to say, ooh, look at that one go. Like, I'll hit them and you can watch them. Like, okay, I hit one of the trees. Does that mean something to you? But like, I'm not here to like ooh and ah and hype up bats. So that's one thing I do not do. Number two, I don't show exit velocity off of batting practice. And here's why. The more launch angle you put into a hit, the less exit velocity is going to go into the ball. In baseball, the trajectory of the pitch and the trajectory of your swing, they are much more on plane. So you can hit a home run and pretty much square the ball up almost. In slow pitch, that's not true. When you have this flat swing and the ball is coming in, if you're putting a 30-degree launch angle onto it, you're not hitting the ball square in the center. So most of the home runs that you hit that go 350, they're only leaving the bat at 85 miles per hour. That's why every time I test velocity, I only do it on a tee and I only do it on line drive. Anything hit high up in the air or hit like a really big chopper, you lose a lot of exit velocity, so I edit those out. And that way I can always test apples to apples. If I'm saying this bat hits 94 miles per hour in the 6 perfect line drives that I hit, and this bat hits 93 miles per hour in the 6 perfect line drives that I hit, then we can really say, okay, this bat performs a little higher or this bat performs a little higher. But I don't do velocity for batting practice because the launch angles make too much of a confounding variable, and it makes it too hard to say, well, which bat actually performs better? We can't really know when every different hit is a different launch angle. Next thing I don't use a rating system. I tried this at the very first, and then I realized this doesn't make any sense to me. When we're talking about these composite bats that have super big sweet spots, we really cannot say, okay, this bat is a 7 as far as sweet spot, and this other bat's an 8, unless we're hitting the same ball on the same location on both bats. Like we've tested, okay, how hard the ball comes off this spot on this bat and this spot on this bat, then we're really not comparing these two bats in any real way. Personally, I would be lying to myself and I'd be making things up. Now, it's pretty easy to tell sweet spot differences between, say, a two-piece alloy bat versus a two-piece composite bat, because the sweet spot is way bigger on a composite bat than an alloy bat. But between two alloy bats and between two composite bats, the differences are so difficult to detect that I just really don't feel like I should be talking about it, because you're basically just getting what you pay for. You're getting a huge sweet spot if you spend $300 on a composite bat. So you're not gonna see rating systems from me, and you're not gonna hear me talk about forgiveness or sweet spot, because I think all of them have such huge sweet spots that to compare them, we're splitting hairs. And the other thing I don't do is I don't just test one bat at a time. I don't make single bat videos, because if we're saying this is a high performing bat, we've got to say compared to what, right? If there was only one car in existence, the Honda CRV is the only car in the world, we can't say it's high performing because there's no other car to say it's high or low performing compared to, right? We can't say this is a good whiskey compared to what? It's a good whiskey when we have bad whiskey or amazing whiskey to compare it to. So when I compare bats, I always swing other bats in the video as my comparison bats. That way you can say, okay, I'm interested in this video about the Boomba Pure. How does it compare to, say, this Esom Tantrum and a DeMarini and a Victus? And then you can say, okay, this bat hit 94, this bat hit 92, this bat hit 93, this bat hit 95. Now we have an actual benchmark to say, how well does this bat perform, not just in a vacuum, but compared to other bats that you might be thinking about buying. So without those comparison bats in a video, I just don't think it makes any sense for me to make a single bat video, because, okay, you watch me hit some tanks with this bat. Is it better than other bats? Isn't that the point? Isn't that what you're asking yourself when you're buying a bat? So that's why I always include other bats to compare in my videos. So if I'm comparing bat performance with line drives off the batting tee, and I don't talk about sweet spot or forgiveness, and most things performance-wise are very similar, then what does matter? For me, it's just feel. Does the bat feel heavier than its swing weight, right? These are both 26. This one feels a little bit heavier than this one does. That stuff I want to let you know. Most bats do not. They feel pretty true to their weight. Some bats feel a little heavy. Some bats feel a little light. Also, all bats have a different barrel feel. This Combat Mustang has a lot of bounciness in the barrel. You can really just like feel the trampoline effect when you hit one good, and it has a like hard sound, but a very bouncy barrel. This Victus has a harder feel and a very crispy feeling to it. Like it feels like glass shattering almost, kind of like the Micans do as well. It's hard to describe. I don't have words for it sometimes, but like the feel of this barrel is very crispy compared to this one that's a little bit harder, but also very bouncy. So those are just subjective things. They don't really affect the performance. Again, like this bat might hit harder, this bat might hit harder, but they still feel very different. So if you're asking, what bat do you want to spend money on that you really like feeling? When I hit one good, I like that feeling. I'm just trying to help you navigate those two things, right? So does it feel whippy? Not as whippy? Does it feel more stiff? Like this is one piece, this is two piece. Those are the big things. Swing weight, barrel feel, stiffness. That's kind of about it, right? So it really comes down to a lot of feel and personal preferences, in my opinion, and really just helping to walk you through the differences about what do you want your bat to feel like? How do you want it to be when you hit? For me, the Combat Mustang kind of checks all my boxes. Two-piece, very bouncy, also but a nice, crisp, hard sound to it, right? That's kind of my checklist. And so other bats that are similar, I like those bats too. Bats that are too stiff or too heavy, like I don't like a 1 ounce end load. I like one piece, but not as much as 2 piece. But I'm still happy to swing a 1 piece as long as it's not a 1 ounce end load. I also like balanced bats, but I'm not obsessed with balanced bats. Like I don't swing them in games that much, but I do like them. And I like mid loads. So it really comes down to like, those are my preferences, but what are your preferences? And I'll kind of help you understand why I like certain things and if you might like those things as well. All right, now one criticism I've gotten testing bats is one person said, oh, you said you liked all these bats, so like obviously this is not an objective review. And I don't think that's fair, and let me explain why. For those of you who like wine or like whiskey or like cars, let's use cars first. Is a Porsche trash compared to a Ferrari? No, they're both really high performing cars, even if one's faster than the other. It's just a preference. Do you like Porsches more? Do you like Ferraris more, right? With whiskey, if you buy a $50 bottle of whiskey, it's a good whiskey. You're not gonna buy any $50 whiskey that's trash, right? But you might like Knob Creek more than you like Maker's Mark. I know there's like $35 bottles, but bear with me. Or you might like Woodford Reserve more than you like Four Roses, right? Whatever your preference is, it doesn't make the other ones trash. And so if we compared a $300 bat to a $70 bat, and we're just saying like, price be damned, which bat is great and which one's trash, yeah, we'd say the $70 bat that's one piece alloy is trash compared to a $300 bat. But here's the thing, the person who's buying a $70 alloy bat is not even in the same budgetary land as a person in the $300 range, right? You buy a $70 bat because you're new to softball, or you want it to be a beater bat. You want a very durable practice bat, or you just want another bat that you can use a team bat and it doesn't have to be the highest performer. It doesn't make it trash. It just makes it a different tool for a different person on a different budget, right? Now, I've tested bats that do not perform as well as, like, for example, these two $300 bats, but usually they're almost always cheaper. So I've tested the Easton Salvos, which are like 230, and they're like 1 or 2 miles per hour less than these bats. I've tested two-piece alloy bats like the Mike and Vicious and the Mike and MV1. They're both about 150 bucks, and they're like 2 or 3 or 4 miles per hour less high performing than these bats. But they're also half the price. So it doesn't make them trash. It makes them at a different price point. And honestly, I think it makes them a pretty good deal for the money, right? How much is 3 or 4 miles per hour worth to you? If it's not worth $150, then the $150 bat is a pretty good deal, right? So I don't bash bats unless there's some obvious reason. And I honestly have not come across many, because all these $300 bats are so well made and so similarly engineered that there's really no cause for me to say this one's great and this one's junk. So overall, they're all pretty good. It's just flavors of different pretty good. And so that's why I don't really trash any bat. And if I would, it would be for durability. But the problem with testing bats is I can't test the new hot bat and also give you long-term durability info on it because I haven't swung it for a year, right? Now, some bats do crack pretty quick, and I know there's been a couple on the market, but is that an outlier? Does that mean all their bats break fast? I don't know, right? And so I would tell you if a bat broke fast, but I also wouldn't just say like, oh, these bats are trash, they crack right away, because one item, like we all know, some people have bought an iPhone and it's, it malfunctions. Does that make all iPhones trash? Or that all of them have, function issues? Probably not. So it's hard to say what durability I can actually speak to without having swung them for an entire year, right? And lastly, just for fun, let me give you some insight into the testing process. So because I hit all these bats off the tee, and then I do them in BP as well, and I try to swing them in games, but I can't control my game schedule as much, I have to do at least 2 filming sessions for every video that I do. And for every bat, I want to get a reasonable sample size where I can say, okay, I feel like I've got enough line drives at full speed where I can say, like, I know this bat is, I got 7 or 8 really good swings, line drives on camera at my highest velocity with this bat. And so I want to make sure I get a good sample size for every one, and that takes a lot of time. So usually it's up to like 15 to 20 swings per bat, and then I'll edit in the best 6 to 8, and then that gives me a pretty good sample size to say, yeah, the DeMarini hits between 92 and 95 or whatever it is, right? I want to give you a good representation. And that's hard for 2 reasons. Number one, to hit that many line drives out of like 100 or 120 swings in a session, I got to be pretty locked in. And number 2, I have to take all those swings at full speed, which is hard. So I'm in pretty good shape for swinging now, because early in the year, like 50 swings off the tee was a lot, and I was like pretty gassed. Now 100 swings, like I'll play games later that night, but it's exhausting to really give a good sample size, and for me to try to do it right, which is the way I try to do it. And then after that tee session, I'll do a second session with friends, and we'll pitch batting practice, and I'll hit these off the tee, or I'll hit batting practice just so I can get more feel for the swing weight, for sweet spot just for how the bat performs with an actual pitch ball. That doesn't factor in quite as much to my overall like performance recommendations, because I think the exit velocity off the tee is the most important thing, but it does help me feel the barrel, feel the swing weight, and just like overall, like how do I like this bat in my hands in a real game. And so that's why most of these, when I get a bat sent to me, it takes a solid 2 or 3 or 4 weeks to get those videos done, because I just have to churn through my schedule. I have to get guys to pitch to me. And so it just takes time to like get all this stuff done, but it's really fun. I'm really grateful for it. And I hope I've done a good job for all of you who are just trying to make good buying decisions. Because again, I don't care what bat you buy. I just want to help demystify the process. And so that's why I do things the way that I do, but I am open to feedback. And I appreciate all of you who have commented in a positive way that think that I've done a good job with it. So again, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of my channel. And I also want to thank my sponsor, Just Bats, because I absolutely could not do this without them sending me these bats to test. And I appreciate you if you have, you know, patronized them and bought a bat through them. It supports them and it supports the channel as well. So if you have any questions about bats, comments, or discussion, leave it in the description below, and I'll see you here in the next video.